Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Light Gate. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM. We're also talking to you from the United UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on Facebook, we are on Roku, we are on Rumble, and we are on YouTube. I want to thank our sponsors quickly. Thank you. We love you, Carnation. You make the best for us. You help us, and we appreciate you totally. We have a wonderful guest tonight, and I want to let Preston go ahead and go. Go.
Thank you, Dolly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on, get this, it's episode 114 of The Light Gate. We're still going strong. Today, this is a pre-record because our guest is overseas, so we won't be able to interact directly with you guys in chat, but we still love you. And Dolly and I will definitely be there in chat to answer questions and interact with you that way, which is kind of fun in its own way. So yeah, this show is a pre-record. Do you want to give a shout out to you guys? Because it's because of you we do this show. We love you so much. I know we've got some regulars, so I'm being a little presumptuous here, assuming you're going to be watching this. But I do want to give a shout out to Brian Morgan and Teresa Levine, and Peak, and Louise, and who else? Sharice, Michael Kennedy, you're probably watching. Namaste, we love you so much. You're always so generous with your time and your donations. Thank you, Bob Thorson and Patsy Foister. Who else did I write down?
Goyle. Heidi Goyle.
Yeah, Mountain Dan, Kaleidoscope Eyes, Jamie Mashburn, all of you guys. Don't think that because I didn't mention your name, I'm not aware of you. We absolutely love and adore you. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us tonight. I can't wait to talk to you directly in chat, but I'm so excited about our guest. I've been watching him for quite some time. He's been in this field, very prominent figure. Our guest, of course, is Yossi Ronen. Let me just tell you a little bit about him for those of you who haven't heard of him. Here, first, let me put up the little banner. So let's see. There. Oh, no, it already was up. All right. Yeah, our guest is Yossi Ronen. He's the author of the amazing book. It's called One. I'll add that to the stage so you can see it. And currently, he's living in Israel. Our prayers go out to everyone in Israel. Peace on earth, we can do it. And just want to put that out there because these are tough times for everyone, I think, on earth. And peace, that's what we need. Yossi had a face-to-face encounter and communication with several aliens who appeared in his room when he lived about a year. This is in 1981 in Los Angeles, California, and this experience led his life on a new path. His interests have changed to independent search and learning in areas related to the encounter experience phenomena. And for years, he's written articles in Alternative Magazine in Israel, articles directly or indirectly related to UFO and contact or meeting the visitors, such as Alternative Medicine, Currents in Mysticism, Parapsychology, Oneness and God, and the Ancient Secret Hebrew Language. This is so cool how contact opens up people to all this knowledge. The book One, which you see here, is a summary of about 40 years of study and research in the world of spirit, cognition, culture, and the human spirit in the face of the contact, and to the information he received in the face-to-face contact with the visitors. The book opens a window into the understanding of the multidimensional consciousness and perceptions of the visitors and the relation to the development of our human understanding of reality and consciousness. In the book, Yossi describes his communication with the visitors in different states of consciousness, leading to insights into their perception of reality. This is so interesting. The encounter triggers a deep personal transformation, expanding the author's awareness and understanding of the existence, reality, and interconnectedness. Now, the book is available on Amazon. It's been very well received, and I just want to read this very brief snippet of a review, which I think gives some insight into how important and profound this book is. Here's the review. One of the most concise and readable books I've read so far regarding contact with non-human intelligence. beautiful and ultimately uplifting messages, and a message that I feel humans are obligated to take seriously, especially in these times. So there's just one snippet of the many, many wonderful reviews of this amazing book and Yossi's story. Let me just bring him on right now.
Hello, Yossi.
Hello, hello. Thank you for inviting me to your beautiful chat. It's really honor.
Thank you. We
Yeah,
are honored. We are honored as well. Absolutely.
it's an absolute pleasure. I'm so excited because I've been watching you for quite some time. I'm like, Dolly, we need to get Yossi on our show. So I'm just so delighted and glad and honored you said you agreed. And
Thank you.
I just can't wait. I'm really excited, honestly, because there's not a lot of people out there who are firsthand experiencers who have written books that are, well received and doing well and popular. And yours is right up there at the top. So what a treat for us, and I think our audience as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, now, like I told you before we started the show, I usually like to start the show by asking our guests, what was their childhood like? Were they skeptical of UFOs and the paranormal? What brought you to where you are today? Writing this book about your experiences? Because most people don't even talk about their experiences. It takes a lot of strength and courage to really come forward. And I'm curious about how that all, rolled out for you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any aware experience with the aliens or UFOs when I was a child. I knew that I had only when I grow up and I done hypnotic regression. But it started only when I was 21 years old, when I was in Los Angeles, and I didn't know nothing. I mean, consciously, I was not even interested in that field.
Wow.
And not in the mystical world. I was very interested in science and electronics and this kind of things, and the contact, the meeting changed everything. So it was very surprising. And in the year, it was 1981, there were no internet. So I didn't know about other contacts that there were in those years because I didn't see it in the internet or something like that.
Right.
So it was totally surprising and life-shattering for me. I didn't know what's going on with me. In the beginning, I thought that maybe I was confused and I believe in my imagination, and because it was too far out. And
yeah, I think a lot of contactees feel that way when it happens.
yes,
And you were quite young, 21. Wow.
yeah, I had many years to think about that and to examine what happened. And I met many people in Israel, especially that had contacts similar like me, to help me to understand. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't thought that I'm gonna write a book. I was just curious to understand what happened to me and what happened to others that have this contact. So it helped me very much to widen my awareness about the contact itself.
Mhm.
And one important thing is that the aliens themselves did the contact with me in a manner that helped me very much to realize what's going on, because they really use my consciousness and they give me the opportunity to help to understand what's going on with my consciousness in the meeting itself.
I find that extremely interesting. And I have two questions for you.
Mhm.
Before your contact, had you ever studied meditation? Were you ever interested in it? Transcendental, anything, any esoteric science at all before that time?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't read. I was not interested in the spiritual world, but
Mhm.
it was all inside of me in a way that I was not aware, because there was one sign for that. That there was, when I was 15, something like that, there were a book that was spreading in the neighborhood. You know, someone goes with books and put it near the door.
Right.
And that book was a translation to Hebrew of a Hindu something that I don't remember either the name of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to read the book. I didn't understand nothing, but my eyes start to tear from the text without understand. It gave me a strong emotion of something that happened to me when I read that text. I did not understand it. It was real deep, probably Hinduism of spiritual something. And it all started really only after the contact.
Wow, that is very interesting. What was your second question, Dolly?
As with contactees, one of the things that ET looks at is that you're psychic. They can't contact you without your ability being wide open. In other words, you have to have the ability in you. It means your pineal gland can't be messed up. You have to have a natural ability. Did you notice at all in your lifetime that you might be very, very intuitive? Did you have this experience? Yes.
Yes, I played with that with my friends. It amused me in a way that when we were playing, I could guess what we're going to see on the other side of the street. Children playing, and it was amazed me, and sometimes I was correct, and it was only playing. I didn't know that there is something, but there is something in my family that we have lots of out of body and.
There it is. Whoop, there it is. Okay.
Yeah,
keep going.
It's something in the body, probably. It's something, a lot of out of body and near-death experiences. All of them alive now, many years after that experiences. But it seems that in our family, it's like a easy going from one side to the other.
Yes.
If I say it rightly, something like that.
Okay.
My mother, my two sisters, my grandmother, all of them.
Amazing.
It's apparently you. Okay, now I do have one more question. In the sciences, what were you interested in the sciences? What was your focus?
I was really intrigued by nature. I wanted to understand how it works. It was a very how they live, eat, the sunlight, some things like that, and then some physics and this kind of stuff, theoretical physics, how it works, how it all works out.
Yeah, you were literally woken up on purpose. That's what I was trying to get to.
Well, when your contact happened at that time, was anything unusual going on in your life? Were you reaching out, or you know what I mean? At age 21, you said this is when.
Yes. I didn't have something particular. Beside that, I had an urge to paint a couple of months before.
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't know why, and I started to have a need to paint, and I painted things that I didn't understand. I understood the paintings only after the contact. It's like something.
Wow.
You were already being spoken to. You're just trying to express it out without knowing what you were doing yet.
Yeah, what were you painting, or what did you figure out?
It was an abstract, some not. My English. I'm not used to talk English. Only on this kind of podcast I talk English. So
I understand. That's
I talk slow. I'm sorry about that.
no worries. No worries.
Um, it was an abstract of something, but it was spiritual in a way. I didn't know that it's spiritual because it was like objects flying without touching the ground, like the picture on the wall, things that are not totally ruled by the ordinary physical laws, something like that.
Yes.
So interesting. Wow.
Well, I would love to hear about your experience, your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit forward, the contact was a little bit complicated, and in time I saw that many people don't understand what happened, and I give this forward to help it. The thing is that they gave me the contact with two kinds of our consciousness. In the beginning, it was when I was sleeping and I was an out-of-body experience, and they were in the room and we made a telepathic communication in that out-of-body. And then I woke up in the room, and they were still standing in the same place.
Wow.
And the communication continue, but now totally through the body. And that helped me very much to understand the differences and who they are and who am I and what is my consciousness, what are the limitations of my senses when I'm through the body, understand the fear, especially the fear, because the fear for me was very intense fear when I was contacting them when I was awake. So,
Wow. Yeah.
so it all started when I came back from work with my brother. It was afternoon, and he went to his room to rest, and I went to my room, and I fall asleep. And the first thing that I remember after that I'm out of my body, looking at my body sleeping on the bed.
Hmm.
And my view was from the ceiling. I see the room, I see my body sleeping on the bed, and I had a very good feeling. And I knew many things that I don't remember now after I went back to the body, but I knew what's going on. I knew that I'm out of the body, that I remember. And my vision was not through the eyes, but I could see. I could see my body, I could see the room, and and in that situation, I saw in the room the aliens too. I saw one of them standing near my bed, looking at my head very closely, and the other four or five walking in the room, touching things, examining things, and they were very joyful. They were like kids that's looking at a new place to travel, something like that. And they were in a very joyful mood, and we were aware to each other totally. And they were like familiar for me in that situation that I'm out of my body. And I'm aware that this is me. That thing that look at my body is the real me. And the body is only something that I'm going back to. I'm going. It's only a vehicle.
Yeah.
I find the word in the years, but in that situation, it was a real natural understanding. And we felt like friends in a way, or family, something like that.
Now, were they immediately aware of you?
Yeah, totally.
Out of body? They were looking
No,
at you?
the up of the thing is that when the first minute of the out of the body, I didn't understand where am I, because I see the body on the bed and I'm above it, and I try to look for my hands, and I didn't see nothing. I didn't see my legs. I didn't see my body. And it was weird.
Yeah, it takes a minute. I know.
Yeah. It took time to get used to the feeling of being out of the body. Even it
Right.
was good, it was confusing.
Right.
So I wanted to make myself more comfortable. So it, it, it looked like I'm going near my bed. It was a table there, and I set myself on the table. It was not with the body, but my point of view changed by will. I could change my point
Yeah.
of view, and now I'm sitting on on the table, and look at them, and we are like laughing. We are communicating many things that I don't remember after I woke up, but
Right.
we were communicating and laughing, and then I realized that I'm going back to my body, and The other, I woke up and I heard my face was to the wall still, and the first thing that I thought it was, what a weird and wild dream I had. I dreamt that I'm out of my body, looking at my body, and some green creatures walking in the room, and then we are laughing with each other. We love each other, and what a weird dream. And then I heard a noise behind me, like someone is walking on the carpet or something like that. So I got a little bit tense because I remember that I locked the door and no one can go in, and my body is still sleeping. So I turn around, and the first thing that I see is that one that was standing near my bed is now looking at me very close to me, half a meter,
Wow.
standing there with his big black eyes and
Is
looking at
this
my
image
eyes.
correct as to what you
Yes,
saw?
this image that I drew this image couple of months after the contact, and I remained it like that. You know, the first sketch that I
Yeah.
done, it's a very simple sketch, but they look like that to me. Very
Wow.
long fingers. And one was very thin, other was a little bit more chubby. They will look different physically, but the same the color and the same skin that was not very smooth. It was like a little bit rough. They didn't have hair on the head. They didn't have. I think they had holes instead of ears, and the nose was probably like that, two holes, and the mouth was without lips, a small, like a very small mouth and without lips or something like that, and a
Right.
very long neck and
Yeah.
thin. And they were very gentle, very gentle, and the body. But in the beginning of my awakening of them was totally different experience from the experience of them when I was out of my body.
Yeah. You
I
you
was
go from when you're out of body, you're completely out of the third dimension. You have walked out of space and time, and you see all color, everything in a different way. Okay? It's like all perception is exactly as it truly is. When you're in body, you miss a lot of the details that you can see out of body. And wherever you pinpoint your location where you're looking at, you can see it very intensely, and you can also feel you said that it was they were very happy. You would only have known that out of body. You would not have known that in the body. In other words, they were connecting. We're higher consciousness. You're exactly correct. Okay, we're
mm,
not the body at all. Our physical brain is independent, like a computer, and we're the higher consciousness programming it and living and dwelling in it to run through the third dimension. You also said something else that blew me away when I first saw it. And that is, you said they looked green. That means you were in a fourth dimensional space with them, that they had created the environment in your room with you and brought you out of the third dimension and sustained you in the fourth dimension with them. You were out of space and time, even physically with them at the time, because they dead up look green. Absolutely. When I travel with them, everybody's green. When
Wow.
Everybody, when
Wow.
they come into the third dimension, they get more of a gray cast to them, like a gray with blue undertones. It's really weird. And the first time I saw the green, I was like, where are we? What are we doing? How is this happening? Why are you green? Okay. I remember that distinctly as a child. Okay. And it's like, of all the people that I've ever heard talk about this, you are the only one dead up, straight up, that I know without any shadow of a doubt that this is absolute direct contact. Because only you, by what you say, only a direct contactee would know that, the things that you're saying.
And it's so interesting how this started with an out of body experience and then moved to physical. So when it was physical, were you feeling the same joy and connection to them?
Not in the beginning. Not in the
No,
beginning.
it
In the
was great.
beginning, my
Yeah.
body controlled everything.
Yep.
And the body, the instinct, and emotion, and survival mood was terrified
Yep.
from what he sees.
Wow.
He sees something that he don't understand. These green creatures, I didn't see pictures of them. It was 81, no internet, no nothing. They didn't know what I see.
Yep.
And in the first moment, I thought that I lost my mind. What's going on? I mean, or I thought that maybe I imagined that I wake up, but I still dreaming. I didn't know what's going on with me, so I pinched my hand, my leg, to feel the pain to understand if I'm awake or not.
Wide awake. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was totally awake. So what I think was important, that probably they do it on purpose to help me to realize the differences, because in the beginning I felt only a fear that was instinct fear from the body. The body was frozen, totally frozen, and I could barely breathe because of the fear. But I could not continue with that. I remembered the connection that we had before, and the love that we felt with each other, and that we are laughing. So I tried to behave or lower my fear, that maybe the fear is only mine.
Right.
And that started to do something. Now, part of the fear was that in the beginning, was that I heard a noise in my head. It was a noise like a drilling, like a driller in my head, like something like that, or a train that is going to
Wow.
go over me, a very strong sound. And when I started to lower the fear, I started to realize that that noise is not a noise. It is something that I'm now starting to realize that it's a communication.
Right.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, when my body relaxed, he started to realize that it was a communication, and that communication was their consciousness trying to connect to my consciousness.
Yes.
And my body translated in the beginning to noise because it didn't understand that.
Right.
The fear blowed everything to something very not familiar and very frightened. So they looked frightened to me. The
Wow.
noise in my head was without a meaning. It was only
Right.
threatened.
That's a really
When I-
important detail, I think, because other people have described this like they didn't tell me anything. They weren't communicating, but they were trying. It's fear overrides.
So, that's my number one
Exactly.
statement to everybody. Y'all have to overcome how you feel about this and want
Exactly.
communication.
Exactly.
And you did
I
exactly
have-
that. I'm proud of you. You did something that I don't see very often. Yeah, I'm serious.
Yeah,
You know?
many people that I met um, told me about that fear, and most of them, if they don't continue to realize that the fear is their fear, they stayed with the fear.
Right.
And when they stay with the fear, they stayed with the bad emotion and bad even visual way of looking at them, because it distorted everything, the
Nice.
fear.
Yep.
The body controlling everything, and he made you see something like a monster or something
Right.
that's
Exactly.
going to eat you or swallow you.
Yep. Your brain overrides your higher consciousness, and it writes what it wants to write over it.
Yeah, exactly. And he translate it in the way he can translate.
Right.
And even the high spirit of them that can be so open to have other one consciousness in their consciousness, for my body was like a penetration in the beginning, like something dangerous going inside me and almost going to control me. You know, this is the first fear, that something else stronger than you is going to control your mind or something like that. But when I relaxed, I heard that it was only the trying to communicate with me. And when I relaxed even more, I started to realize their consciousness, because they were totally open.
Yes.
And their consciousness was really amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
It was very quiet. No words,
Right.
no sentences, but totally
I
quiet
I
and
used to
without
interpret
yeah,
it as
yeah.
I interpreted always as a phenomena of everything at once. In other words, they speak in literally to you in concepts, total concepts. Like you don't have to say one sentence to them. They're giving you the whole book all at one time. And once you get comfortable with it, you immediately begin to realize you're being given everything you want from their minds. And it's incredible. It's like walking into a wide open space and having the lights come on, and you get to know, wow, you know,
This is
they
how communication is supposed to be.
it's unbelievable when you communicate
Yeah.
with them. So yeah.
Yes, very, very close to what you said. I understand that, because when I mean, they are very humbled and without an ego, and that made
Yes.
their consciousness totally open to each other.
Yep.
With them, they were totally open to the other aliens in the room too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Each one of them that was feeling or knowing something, each other one knew.
No, immediately. There's no lying between them either. You can't tell
Yes,
lies. It's
there were no
absolute honest. Yeah.
yeah, there were no borders between their consciousnesses,
Right.
but they were not mixed with each other. Each one of them
Individual.
has his own personality,
Yes.
his own unique way of the way they're looked in a physical 3D,
Right.
the way they think, the way they feel. But they were totally open to each other and knew each other one what he feels. And
Yes.
in that situation, they let me go inside too,
Yep.
into their
Wow.
consciousness. And it was amazing ride, because they were so wide, because they didn't have an ego.
Right.
They didn't shut down nothing. They were open to the trees, to the cat outside. I could see what they see through their consciousness, and they
Oh,
could
wow.
see. I mean, I didn't have the ability to go so much, because it was new for me. But I realized that they were totally open to very wide consciousness and very calm and
Yeah.
very peaceful and
Yep.
loving.
Did you have any sense of gender? Were these men or women?
No, no, I
You're all
don't
one.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was men and women or not men and women or both. I don't know. It was
There's
it
no
was something.
separation of consciousness for them. In other words, they are, when you say that one, your book blew me up, because we are you, you are us, we are all one. That's what I was taught with them from an early age. I have no separation in my mind in any way, shape, or form between me and any living object anywhere in this universe. We're all one. We're all the same in it together. And gender is something that we experience in the third dimension here, because we procreate here. In other words, that's how we propagate the physical beings here. But there is no, they have genders in the third dimension, but they've gone way past it. There
Mhm.
is no separation in mind at all. It's all the
Yes.
same. And it's incredible. It's incredible.
Mhm.
Wow.
This is when we, I think many experiences, when they met them, they feel that oneness. I mean, they realize that oneness because they're really their mind. One of the main differences from our physical mind, not the spirit, because our spirit is the same.
Right.
We are in the spirit. I think we are aware of the one in a very natural way, but the body is not aware of that.
Correct.
And this is something that, and this oneness is not like we think maybe that it's a blur of something that is not divided to things, because when we think about one, we don't think about borders, and this is the real essence of the one. But in the one there are personalities, many personalities, and but they are all joined together to the one experience of consciousness, and they have the ability and they can choose to be wherever they want with their consciousness, to go there and to go there, and they are all open. And this is the real oneness, that it includes everyone.
Right.
It's not that they made a mess from them. It's totally the opposite, because I realized that I can go inside that oneness through the uniqueness of my consciousness.
Yep.
Not from forgetting it. Exactly the opposite. When I go inside my own special spiritual individual essence, on the other side is the oneness of everyone.
Right. I was taught to use the word autonomy. We're all autonomous beings.
Yes.
And we're all
Independent.
part of what they consider all mind. We're all the all mind, all of us. Their
Yes.
conception of God is all mind. They don't use the word God at all. They say all mind. We are all mind, all
Yes.
together as one. But we're autonomous. Each one of us has our own unique signature of who we are. And we have our own memories. We have our own logic. We have our own path, life path, force.
Exactly.
And it's we're challenged to learn all that is knowable, know all that is knowable before we proceed to go on to any next level of anything. And it's interesting. I was taught that why we're here, this place here, is to learn and gain wisdom here, so that we employ what we learn. Because all mind knows everything. When we're out of body in the all mind, okay, we have
We're connected to all of it.
all of it. We have any knowledge we want.
All the knowledge.
But living physically in a body gives our autonomy, our ability to become wise with it and to use it properly and to employ it properly. That's the most important thing we should learn here. And they want so bad for us to come to this understanding and knowledge.
Well, I think that's why your book is so important, because this
Yes.
is exactly what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. So this experience starts, you hear the buzzing, you realize it's communication, and you become connected to them. What did they communicate to you? How did this unfold?
Well, it was very, it was not like for instance, in the beginning, I had question in my head to them. Like, the question was, who are you, or where you came from? You came from a different star. That was my question in my head. I didn't talk. I didn't. I knew that I didn't have to talk, and they answer without words. The answer was exactly with my with my question. I had the answer because we are connected. And what I understood now that I interpret to words is that they explained me something very crucial that helped me for many years to understand what's going on with the body. They told me, you are translating the field that you cannot understand with your body, you translate it in the most close way to what you know in your ordinary life with your body.
Right.
So that's why you think for something very far and different and strange and alien as a different star. But actually, we are from a different dimension. And that teach me a lot, because if I think about what it is, a different dimension, it's not a different physical place.
Mm-mm. No, it's not. It's
And
right where you are. You're
yeah,
in it.
it's right everywhere.
Yes, exactly. We're
It's
all on top
everywhere.
of each other, literally. Yeah.
Yes, and it's something that probably our consciousness can go and be there.
Yes.
And maybe there is a part, I'm sure about that. I think that there is a part in our brain, our physical brain, maybe the right one, the right hemisphere is connected to this oneness all the time, and it's connected with like our soul, or it doesn't matter how you call it, but the right side of the brain is connected to that. And but we most of the time aware only from the left brain, the left hemisphere, and the left hemisphere have to translate to a form everything that it's like you have a experience of the oneness, but from your left brain, when you wake up and try to realize what have you experienced, the left brain try to give it a form, give it a
Right.
size, a place in time, place in space, to
Name
understand it,
everything and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
give it a label.
to give it to
Everything
give it
we
a
learn.
definition
Yeah.
of something.
Everything we learn here, we paradolize every new bit of information that comes in. We write it into our minds from our perspective, our own unique perspective. And you're right. If you're right brain, you're more creative. If you're left brain, you're more analytical. And one will cancel the other one out, given half the chance without enough information. And it is amazing because in your mind, you have a pineal gland, okay? That's your transmitter to your consciousness from your physical mind and your soul, your
Yeah.
consciousness. And so you're working with everybody's working with a brain that's like trying to conceptualize and understand what they're seeing, but they can't get past what they already know because they're writing it from that perspective. That's why religion can be dangerous. That's why politics is dangerous. That's why hate is dangerous and fear is dangerous to the physical mind, because it doesn't give you an open window to perceive and understand, because you're locked into only that which you know or want to know. You don't have an openness.
It's like a belief system overwrites
Yeah,
everything.
it does. And
Yes.
it is
And I think,
hard. Yeah.
yeah. And I think this is the challenge of us now, is to communicate the left brain to the right brain,
Yep.
and have it the communication a bit by bit, on a slow path that will not be confused, because the right brain see the oneness, and the left brain cannot handle it, and we should do it, but we can do that,
Yes,
and
you can.
this is the work of the body. The body should do that in a way, our left brain.
Yeah.
And
I
when
agree
I
100%. Yeah.
yes, and about religion and God, there was something that when they let me go inside their consciousness, I was curious to find where it all came. I mean, all the consciousness and love and good feeling and trust on everything, and it was weird because it's like they was totally innocent.
Yes.
I was wondering why, how can they be so innocent? And they let me go inside their consciousness to look for it. And for
Wow.
me to look for it was to find where it begins in their consciousness,
Okay.
and where it all, what gives them that confidence. And I went inside their consciousness, and it was like going into a tunnel in and I saw like a bright light on the end of the tunnel. That was the source of that
Right.
love that they feel. And when I realized what it was, that light was like the source of their existence in the way they understand that, without understanding in the way we understand.
Right.
And that source was the love that they are aware that give them life. And I was aware too that this life is the essence of everything
Yes.
and give
Wow.
life to everything.
Right.
And it's the feeling was the most strongest love that I felt ever.
Yes.
It was totally only
Without
love,
boundaries. No boundaries.
no
All love.
boundaries.
Yes.
And years after that, I realized that our true meaning of God is that.
Yes.
But in the work in the translation of the body and people and humanity that try to use everything for power and for that they can change even that to have a God that say you should do that and not do that and but the thing is that each one of us has this communication to that one God, and
Right.
it's written even it's written in the Bible. Like when I after
That's
that years
true.
after that I opened the Bible and I start to read, I realized that the name of God is one. So
Wow.
straightforward, but we translate it. It's like in the Bible, they mean that there are not many gods like the pagans thought that there are many gods, but then the meaning in there is no, the meaning is much more deeper.
Right.
This one God is the oneness of everything, and He is the source of
Right.
our existence.
Right. Ego and power, unfortunately, can take over a person's mind and drive them to want to do three things very fast. And that is to label everything, because you can't control anything unless you can label it to other people and make them believe in that label, so you can direct them where you want to go. We are instigators, physical instigators of ego here where we're at, and we don't it has been lost to us uh, for eons that we have to stop thinking or letting our bodies override what we want, what we really, really want, need, and should have for ourselves as people, and living together and wanting to be together. And amazes me. And the second thing that comes up that I was taught by them is that once you start on that path, it's very hard to walk away. And then we have people showing up in our history like Buddha and Jesus and a few other people, Abraham, uh, all the
Quite a
prophets,
few of them,
all of them,
actually. Yeah.
who are trying very hard to say, listen for a minute. I want you to think this one through. You have to let it go. You have to accept that it isn't what somebody's telling you are, it's who you really are. And if you give up all of that, you can find this. In other words, that's open to you. But you have to let it go. You have to learn how to become one in the singularity of thought, mind, consciousness,
Exactly,
Yeah.
and
exactly.
and you can't get there if you're hanging on to all this stuff.
Mm, mm.
We don't take any of this with us anyway. Most people don't even realize that we're not leaving here with anything. We just came
Yeah,
here to experience. That's it.
yeah,
And the only thing you can take is what you learn, how you love, and understand the connection, and make the connection to that. It's the most important thing. And
So, Yossi, when all of this is going on, are you lying in bed? Are you sitting up? Did you stand up?
no, I sat on the bed in front of them,
yeah.
still frozen. My body is in his world frozen. My soul or my emotion or my consciousness was totally blissed by experiencing their consciousness and that light of, I can say, God, because this is my interpretation of God.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was so blessed and happy, and my body totally frozen and even shaking from fear. it's the differences between who we really are and the body
Yeah.
that is totally built for living in that 3D world that threaten him and try to eat him or trying to control him, and the body he doesn't realize. And maybe it's the nature thing for the body to be like that because it protects him
Right.
from dangerous things.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is a dangerous place. It
Yeah,
does.
and oneness for the body can be very threatened because oneness is not dividing things, and you have to know where is the road and the car that can hit you.
Trample you. Yes.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not oneness there here. So the body have to be like that, but develop the way to be in that duality and make the duality in a very special way. The yin yang and the Star of David talking exactly about that. The Star of David is two
Triangle.
triangles
Yeah.
that are the opposite for each other,
The
but
triangle.
they
Yeah.
are perfectly
Wow. Yeah.
Balance.
on each other, and
Yeah.
the middle of both of them is the same place, the same one.
That's right.
The middle of each triangle that is totally opposite from each other.
Yeah.
Now, when you think about that, all of our physical world built by this duality and the connection of the duality, like men and women, when they are go inside of each other, they have new life.
Right.
The so many things that I'm black out totally from that. Everything is like that.
Yes.
It's the
Beautiful. Yeah.
and the dark and light and the good and bad. And even if in the Bible, the first like scene, the way we interpret the Bible, the when man and Adam and Eve was in heaven and everything was okay, till they ate from the fruit of the knowledge of good and bad. That duality, good and bad, it's not the way the story is explained in the usual way. The real essence of it, we can now understand that the real root of our lower consciousness is to separate between the good and bad from the one.
Right.
And that was the fruit. It was the knowledge of good and bad.
Right.
And the man ate from the fruit probably to be wise like God. But
Yeah.
for God, good and bad are one. But for the human being couldn't have the ability to see them together, and he divided the good and bad. Good and bad, it's judgment. This is good, this is bad. And
Yeah.
that was the beginning of all the falling of our consciousness. So all the religion, the Bible is talking about consciousness, and we are not talking about that. When when in school they taught me about the Bible and this kind of stuff and God, they don't talk about consciousness at all.
Right.
But this is the real essence of the teaching of the Bible.
Yeah. I know it's important to teach the differences. When I was young, I was taught by ET very specific ways. Okay. And one of the ways is that I don't see anything except as choices that I make. In other words, everything I do has a purpose and a choice. And I have to sit and think about what it is before I do it, unless it's an emergency. And then I better make the good choice because I could get hurt. But if I have the time to think it through and I understand things this way, this is the way they taught me to see it. It's either on or off, right or wrong, left or right, black or white. In other words, there's no gray area. I was taught that you're going to make a choice and you're going to live with what you decide, period. You can't stand in the middle of it and think of it later. You have to decide every moment of your life. And to understand that my consciousness is my guide. In other words, I have a physical body, but my consciousness is the driver. and that my physical mind needs to be in contact with me, who I really am, at all times. That's how they taught me. And we need to teach that to our children. We need to teach them that they're not just this, that they're more than this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to let it happen, to see things as they really are. Because you can't know what's really true without that. Okay, you can be lied to, you can be all kinds of things. You can be pulled away from the truth. It's crazy how that goes on. And our societies for a long time, hundreds, thousands of years, have blocked us from that communion with ourselves, and with the Almighty.
Which I think is one of the main reasons so
Yeah.
many people are being contacted. Now, I'm curious, Yossi,
Yes.
how long did this experience last? And here's another question: Did you ask them why me? Why did they tell you? Why did they contact you?
No, they didn't tell me, and I was so curious about them, so I didn't ask them about me, why me, or something like that. Yeah, it was so amazing, and yes, and the contact stopped when I, when they let me go inside their consciousness, and I met this light of God. It was so strong that the love that I felt was too much.
Oh,
I started to feel that I cannot handle it anymore, and
Wow.
my rational thinking wanted to understand this light, to see what it is. And I realized that the aliens that let me go inside of them and know that started to be worried about me doing that.
yeah, they would. Yeah.
For them, this light was everything, and was not concept with the idea. It was everything, and with no way of describe it, or with no borders of my thinking to find the border to understand it. So they realize that I'm not doing good with my consciousness, that now suddenly have the freedom to go and feel so much strong, like frequency or love, and they stop the communication.
Wow.
But yeah, but before they left, they gave me a vision in a different way than usual vision, usual communication, because the communication was totally without forcing me of nothing. It was only at my free will to go,
Right. Exactly.
find, to search whatever I want. They were totally open. But now, before they go, they like forced me to see something, and they forced me to see myself in a green field with a blue sky and high trees and a beautiful day. And a couple of cows were standing near me. I was standing there too. And a couple of cows were standing there eating the grass. And suddenly I hear a noise from the horizon, and a strong fire came and burned everything, and the cows that were looking at my eyes in the instant that they were burned from the fire. And I left with a very painful feeling of why I was not, why did I let that to happen? Something like that.
Yeah.
Why we human don't realize that this beautiful earth, beautiful place, is in our hands, and with our hands we burn it. It was not a prophecy that something like this going to happen. It was only
No, we're poisoning ourselves. We're burning up every opportunity we have here to be healthy, whole, learning individuals, that we are giving it up on our own. We, all of us, by choice, by our choices, no matter how those choices are made, we're deciding not to be in contact, not to know the truth, not to live in peace and harmony on this planet, in health, in joy, literally in joy. We're supposed to be here living joy and learning,
Yeah.
and that's a hard lesson. They gave you a hard lesson, to zap
Yeah,
you with that one.
So
That's
they're
a
yeah,
basically saying it's our responsibility.
I heard that many contactees, many experiences have almost the same. One with fire, one with water, one
right.
they like they're trying to wake us up to understand not that this will happen, but there is a potential that we can ruin ourselves.
Yes.
And they try to wake us up because probably we can do that. We can damage ourselves, and no one gonna stop it. I mean, not the aliens and not God, because
That's
God gave us the free will to do whatever we want, and we are in this playground of
You absolutely have that correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It
I've
is.
heard the
It
same
is.
thing so
I
many
know
times.
people tell me all the time, why can't ET come and help us?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't understand. We are responsible for ourselves here.
yes,
We have
yes,
autonomy, and we're the ones that decide yay, nay, or maybe here. And we all have to work together in love, in consciousness with one another to do the right things with one another. It's a big deal. And it's hard. It's really hard. How do I put this? I sit sometimes and I think, why? The only reason I came out and started talking is I saw this very clearly, and I saw nobody expressing it or talking about it at all. And it literally compelled me to say, well, okay, I'm going in, I'm going to talk. I'm going to voice this to everybody. I have to. I can't not do it. I have a conscience, and it's compelling me to tell the truth about all of this.
I think
yes,
almost all contactees feel this way. That message is, I think, their number one message.
Yes.
yes, yes. It's really, and see how in a gentle way they do that. They don't force us to see that. They
No.
don't force us to do something with that. Just they give me a very gentle
Nudge.
way, not yes, but you can go and forget. It's not, you don't have to do that. You can remember that as a, you felt very bad, you saw a movie. It's your choice to take it seriously or not.
Right.
Amazing way they do that. I mean,
I
they
know.
help us without helping us.
Yes.
They,
Yeah.
they move us without moving us. It's amazing.
So that's
This is
how
the one way.
experience.
It's really,
That's how the experience ended. Then that was the last thing.
yeah,
Then
and
what
the
happened?
way the way they went out of the room was amazing too. What they done, they showed me that they are not physical. Even that they were physical when I saw them. I mean, after that, I understood that they can give themselves a 3D physical body when they want to be in a physical body and experience this 3D world, walking, touching. That's what I saw when they were amazed by touching things. And what they done that made me realize that they are going to their dimension is I was sitting there and watching them going far from me to the end of the room. They were standing near each other, in a circle, handing hands with each other, and they started to move the circle, like started to spin, walking and then like running. They were not running, but they were
Oh,
spinning
wow.
with each other, and the spin became faster and faster and faster. It became a circle of light, very fast light that gets small. This circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller to became to be a point of light that totally disappeared from my eyes, but not from the reality. It literally showed me how they go to other dimensions that I cannot see now.
Yeah.
And they disappear and nothing left in the room.
Yeah.
Like they were never been there, and now I have to deal with that. And it was very fun, very, very confusing for many days and months, and even the first year were very confusing from good and bad together. Because, when they left and nothing left in the room, I was totally feeling blessed by the love that I felt from them, and the love of God that suddenly I realized, and now I know. And now I know that everything that's happening here, all the bad things, all the wars, the basic of all these things is a good, loving reality that give the existence to happen the way we want and the way we choose for the good and the bad. And it's comforting because you know that love is the real reason to everything, even to the bad things that we see. And it's very hard for us to understand that this, poor things that happen, the base of that is love, because we cannot hold these two things together, that love and the pain of a small child, like even. But it's all happening here in a real good reason to happen.
Right.
And
so what did you do after? I mean, that must have been like.
Yeah, where did you go after that?
well, yes, the first thing that I done when they left, I shouted without meaning to shout. I mean, the body in a second relaxed, because the physical closest to them hold my body in a very fearful instinct reaction to them. And when they left, I suddenly, my body relaxed and a shout came out.
Wow.
My brother came from his room. What happened to you? Why you shout? I couldn't speak. I mumbled something like I had a dream or something like that, and gave me a glass of water, and I went out of the room and sat on the chair out of the apartment. It was, near it was a ground apartment.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and trying to understand what happened to me.
It's a big deal.
It's not easy. It's not
No.
easy, because what you saw, once again, there were no movies or pictures of them, and I didn't heard any story of other one that saw these creatures. The only logical thing for me to complicate about that I had an imagination of something.
Mhm.
I was not on drugs or something like that. So
Right.
I thought maybe I got lost. My mind got
I did
No.
too. Yeah. If I was crazy or not. Yeah.
no. There is no other explanation for that.
Yeah.
In the other hand, I was totally happy. I was totally in love, totally in confidence. And even that love and confidence was, I doubt on that feeling,
Yep.
because I thought it's not rational. So I was imagining love. I was imagining, our body goes straight to ground you on the floor to behave like a creature that have to survive, and not too much spiritual. This is the body that try to control all of everything.
Right.
So were you even thinking these were aliens at that point?
It was maybe, if it's real, it's amazing, and I didn't know what to do if it's real. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with that. If it's not real, I was started to feel bad about myself. If I had a moment of out of my mind, maybe my life is going to be, you know.
Yeah.
So I started to feel very bad, and I looked at my hand, and suddenly I saw that the skin of my hand looked different. and I can see, like I'm looking from a microscope to my even cells of my skin, and I looked at the
Wow.
tree, and I realized that I can see differently
Yes.
without my glasses.
Yep.
I could see very far away,
Yep.
in a very focused way without my
Yep.
glasses.
Yep.
And even more, when I look at the tree, it was vibrating like in a conscious way.
Yeah. You see the energy of it.
Exactly.
Literally. It almost looks like when I look, I'm in this all the time now. I've had so much contact and been with them so much that I can't see normally anymore. I do not. Okay. My physical eyes don't look for me as much anymore. It's all me doing it, my consciousness. And I can see the pinprick of every single color there is in every single particle of our existence, all the energy of it. And it moves, it vibrates, it's constantly moving. Nothing is still 100%. I see it breathe. I see it change.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see it. And I have to be careful when I'm walking through things because I'll walk into things because I think, I'm not kidding you, I lose the depth perception of it. It's 5D to me, 6D, not 2D, 3D. And I'll not gauge myself properly and walk into a solid object that is not solid to me at all in my eye. And I turned into a giant klutz because of it. And I had to sit there and think, this. You sit there and you go, wow, and it's like, how do I understand what the heck this is? Where is my perception going with this? I mean, I was walking through a transit of existence that I wasn't ready to start yet. And yet here I am, I'm going through it, you know?
Mhm.
And I really did feel crazy. I thought, now I've lost my mind. That's why I became a nurse, because I thought I was nuts. I took psychology as well. And I was trying to figure out, am I nuts or not? What the heck? I
Wow.
mean, it
So
really
that's
weirded
pretty
me
much
out.
what happened to you too, Rossi. This started you on
Yeah.
a search for meaning.
Yeah, to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
in that situation, that I'm sitting and looking at the leaves of the bush, I didn't see only the color of the leaf. I could hear the sound
Yep.
of the color of the leaf,
Yes.
and
Synesthesia, big time. Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
And I had many experiences
Yeah.
uh, having anesthesia all of their life. For
Yeah.
me, it was for a couple of hours,
Oh, wow.
a very strong synesthesia, and then it moved.
Amazing.
I mean, it faded, but in that hours, it was amazing. I could understand, like I could, when I hear noises from the other side of the building, I could visualize what's going on there.
Yeah. You communicate
And
with it. It's a
and
new
I
form of
wanted to
communication.
understand what's going on with
Yeah.
me physically, because I knew that the influence of the contact now done something in a physical way to my brain,
Yep.
and I'm going to and it's going to disappear in a couple of hours. I knew that, so
Oh,
I wanted to understand what happened, that I could maybe go back to that situation. And what
yep.
I realized, that my brain is now acting a little bit different. All the different senses started to have oneness between them.
Yes.
I mean, the sound and the visual get to like talking to each other,
Yes.
and by
Wow.
that the leaf have much more of
Yeah.
what we could see only by sight, or only, and it become like conscious, and you can see,
It's
understand,
sentient. Yes.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
experience reality in much more wider than
Yes.
the same reality that every day does. And
Yeah.
another thing that was amazing in that situation, that I was on the sitting on the chair, it was apartment with a couple of other apartments. Suddenly, my neighbor came home from work.
Oh,
It was late in the evening. And I looked at him, and he says hello to me. I couldn't speak. I raised my hand to him. And it was a very ordinary neighbor man. And when I looked at him, I suddenly saw that all of his body have fibers of like silver things that around him,
Mm-hmm.
and immense love that he have in his, I don't know, heart or something like that.
Right.
Amazing love that he have, but he was not conscious of that at all. He was not aware of his immense love that is inside of him. Amazing, amazing energy flowing from it. And he was not aware. He was sad. He was tired. He was, I don't know what he was thinking, but he was, sad and depressed. And it was shocking.
Yeah.
And in that minute, you realize that a human being is an amazing entity that locked in a body. I believe it's a free will to be locked. It's not that someone locked us in a body.
We came
We
for
do
a
that.
reason, right? We choose. Yeah.
Yeah, we chose to do that to develop by these limitations.
Yes.
And it's really, that was the most amazing experience of other human being for me.
Yeah. It's very cool. We are all amazing. I wish we could all see it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a goal for me to try to help people do that. Because we are one. We are in love. We are from love. We are born from love. Everything that we are embodies that in every way. And yet we've come to be in this body to learn how to be in love again from this perspective.
Yes.
That's one of the greatest lessons we need to learn here, right?
Yeah, the body limits everything and force us to confront many strong things that mm, don't let your love to be.
Right.
And the strength that we do in this situation to feel love is the development of our consciousness.
Yes.
Because the consciousness, when it was before we came to a body, probably cannot do that, because he is in the oneness. He is totally on the bliss in heaven.
Wow.
And it doesn't have to do, so he stays with God and with that happiness. But probably the entity, the soul there that want to develop, you have to go to a place that going to trigger the force of to be more than what it
Yeah.
was.
That's what I mean by employment of knowledge. Okay. Love, the knowledge of love itself in the physical body and the physical mind, we have to learn how to employ what that really is. And by doing so, we need to start teaching it to others as well. We know everything in source, in the Almighty God, okay? But we don't have the ability, that wisdom of how to physically manifest it here, okay? And we have to learn how to do that. We have to learn how to employ that knowledge and use that knowledge with one another and evolve with it, because that's what we're required to do. That's what we choose to do by coming here. And it's really hard to teach that to people. They look at you like you're crazy and it's like, no.
Well, this is one of the burdens that
Yeah.
so many contactees have. So that brings us to my next question. What encouraged you to come forward and write a book about this and speak to others? Because that's a big step.
A couple of things.
A lot of courage.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I didn't talk about it. 5 years, I didn't talk it to nobody. And then years after that, I told that only to very close people. You cannot talk about it on work or something like that. But when I got older and I knew and I saw so many people that have the same experience, and they were confused. And when I talked to them and I just told them my story, just told them how I could, how there is a way to look it from a different angle, angle, it helped them. It helped them to realize that really maybe the fear was their fear, and
Yeah.
they have the memory, and when they go back to the memory, they can heal themselves. And this situation gave me a kind of responsibility to do that book, because I know the connection of the aliens with us is very crucial. It's very crucial, especially in this time that we are really on the edge of destruction. And the contact with the aliens can be so much benefit for us, and they're trying to help us. So I felt like almost, whatever will be, I will do that. I will write it, and I will give it to people. And and it's now a couple of years after the book is out. Many reactions to the books are like that. Like they saying that. I had many experiences, and I couldn't really understand what's going on there, what happened to me. Is it was, and yours, and when I read your story, you read the book, I could really understand now what happened to me, and it helped me very much. Many people told me that, so I know that I really succeed, at least do that. That it gives many good opportunities, a good potential to people to look it from the bright side and not from the dark side.
Right.
This is the change that we can do. With you and with your podcast, you do the same. You tell the stories of healing, and it's amazing. People have the chance to look at themselves and see that healing when they met the aliens or met something ordinary in life. You remember them that they have this force of healing, and
Yes.
that's why these stories are very important to our culture now. Very important.
Wow. How did you come up with the title? I mean, the title is just perfect. One. I mean, was that something that you just came to you, or?
Because one was the main thing that they taught me in a way. Because there were oneness with each other. The consciousness was connected, and this is, if we can, in a very simple way, talk about the differences between their consciousness and our, is that their consciousness is one with everything, including us, and our souls and everything, but we from the body don't see that one, even that we are inside of this oneness. And I want to give the title for the target or the purpose of the road of the book. Like like the road is to the one, and
Right.
and I wanted that the book will help to realize the oneness. So that's why I chose this title.
Yeah, it's
And
I love
lovely.
that. I
It
love that.
works.
Yeah. Now, are you teaching this to others? I mean, do you have a resource where people can come and talk to you when they want to, or reach out to you for advice or anything like that?
I don't I don't have groups or something like that. I put everything in the book, and I was concentrated on giving in the book all the teachings that I got from them, because they teach me many things after that,
Yes.
not in a face-to-face contact, but because I didn't have
Yeah.
the courage to do that once again face to face. But they gave me an amazing dream that I could divide from a normal dream, and I put it all in a book, and it took me many years to write.
Oh my goodness.
And I think uh, many uh, each one that most of the people that read the book and talked to me said that it helped them very much, and they read it even twice. And so I think for now, writing this book and the new one that's going to it will take some time because I'm very slow. Is the most benefit way for me to give it.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's what's really wonderful about your book is it's not just the story of your experience. It's all the things you've learned as a result of it.
Yes.
Yes, I wrote the experience in the first chapter, and I wrote it in a way that the reader can experience with himself the experience. I didn't told what to experience when I described the experience. It was not very easy to do, but I did it in a way that people can feel it in a way.
Yeah.
And then I go to the rational, logical, explaining things in a way that they can, take it to the experience of reading the contract itself.
Wow. So they continued to be in contact with you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Through the dream state mostly?
from the dream state, and even in writing, it comes very in a very good way, because when I try to write an idea that doesn't have words, that it's common thing with them. Like they give you an understanding without saying to you. They want you to write it. They want you to give words for that. This is the work what and
Interpret the understanding of it. Yeah. Whenever I'm given, like if I have a question about something, they'll give me the answer. Okay. But I have to unpack it. I have
yes,
to work my way through it and understand it the best way I can, and then come to a rational or an emotional conclusion. In other
yeah,
words, or try to join the two together, which I do most of the time. I want to see both sides of everything and understand it as a whole, all the way around it,
yes,
And it doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it takes me weeks,
yeah, yeah,
a year. And then boom, the light bulb goes off and I go, now I got it. Now I got it.
yeah, yeah.
It's
And,
like, yeah, I
and
want to voice it then,
yeah, exactly. And it took me so many years to finish the book because of that, because I know that I'm translating. And
Yeah.
I know that in the translating and could be wrong. So everything that I wrote there, I examined by reality. Like I had the understanding of the oneness that we go when we when my when our body or mind or consciousness can be aware of the right side that is open to the all of the oneness, it chooses something to this real life. Like you
Yes.
see all the potentials and you choose.
Right.
And then the quantum mathematics being realized to me, and I saw that this is the same thing. I mean, the superposition, the idea of the superposition of the particles is that they can be everywhere, not in a particular time or space, but in everywhere. And
Exactly.
we observe it, and when we observe it,
It's only in
we
that
give it a
shot,
place in time.
right? You take a photo of it, literally, and it's
We
frozen for
choose.
you right
Yeah,
there. Yeah. One of the things that you're describing also, and I find this unique, and I'm glad you speak to it. You give a better description of the process than I do, is that everything I say to people, and when I'm communicating here, okay, from what I understand and what I know, I don't want anybody to take me for exactly what I say or believe me on the surface of it. I want you to do your homework. I want
yes,
you to research it for yourself. I want you to take what I say and learn from it for yourself. In other words, you have a job now. It's your job to take this information and go with it and
yeah,
expand it. And that's what ET teaches us to do, period. We can't, they can't give, that's why they don't jump in and give us everything we want. We have to
yeah.
learn it for ourselves,
Of course,
and it's
because
amazing.
each one of us have a different personality and a different job to do.
That's right.
And he is very, each one of them is unique. And
Yes.
because of that, each work is different.
Yes.
But and exactly I was thinking about in the book. I was like I tried to open the potential for the reader to find his own path
Wow.
by his own personality to do the work with himself, you know, and
That's
not
wonderful.
telling him do that, do that. I don't tell him nothing to do. I just open the opportunities, the potential.
Give them, yeah, exactly, the opportunity. Now, here's a question. Did you speak to your family about all this, and how did they receive it?
It was not easy. You know, and my mother was the first human being that I told him about the contact. There is a good connection between me and my mother. And when I came back from United States after a couple of years, that I decided to talk because I realized that whatever I understood was real and right, and even the interpretation was right. I, I, I wanted to talk about it, and I decided to tell it to my mother. And I remember the moment when I told her that, she lowered her head, and I saw that she's crying.
Oh my goodness.
I told her she was crying because she told me, I realized that you had drugs in the United States and it blew your mind. My mother told me that. Yeah. I was ready for that. I was ready for that.
Okay.
I know it was not, it was, I know the reaction because if I didn't have this experience and someone else would telling me that, I would say the same to him. Well, listen, go to a shrink or tell me what did you take? Maybe I take two. You know, it's something like that.
You have to find out what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but it took a couple of years after that, and now it's totally different because you know in the television, all the History Channel and all the programs and other people started to talk and there are books. So now they are appreciated and
Oh, wonderful. I'm
yeah,
glad.
but you know, still don't writing is not giving you money. Go find a work and
Right.
find work.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
Don't
exactly
waste your
right.
time.
You don't have another job. That's right.
Yeah, I understand that too. You know,
Yeah.
it's natural.
It's not going to make you a millionaire. Not
Yeah, yeah.
no.
Well, there's a few who've made money off this, but no. So
Maybe
here's another question, which is kind of out of left field. But have you ever seen a UFO or a craft in the sky?
I saw a craft, and I don't know. I don't know what I saw. I think I saw a rectangular on the beach of Tel Aviv when I was on the beach, and it was amazing because my sister was there, and I told her, look. She looked at that and said, "Hey, weird," and keep on doing like whatever she done.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was amazing, and I forgot it too. You know, I saw that. I saw it. Well, you see it, and you tell yourself, probably there is a normal reason for what I see, and it's not what I think UFO or something like that. You know,
Was it daylight or nighttime?
daylight totally on the middle of the night, very slowly going with the light in the middle of it.
Oh, you saw it
And
on the RGB. That was ours, not UFO.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking now because I heard many people that say that,
Yep.
and probably we have some kind of craft, but maybe it was not a UFO. The Stellars now there are these airplanes that heavy airplanes that if you look from the beneath and it's totally rectangle.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
in the sky. So I don't know. It was maybe.
UFOs are not matte black, ever.
Yeah.
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 They don't have the middle light, and they don't have red and green lights. Or
I didn't saw much UFOs, but maybe this is what
It's interesting because contact can take so many different forms. A lot of
Yes,
contactees never see a UFO.
that's right. That's
and
true. They don't need to because they're
Yeah, I mean,
contact is contact. I don't need a UFO to come over to see me for me to be in contact with who I'm in contact with. Okay.
right. I mean, I talked to two sisters. They had repeated contacts with the gray, but they didn't think so because they never saw a UFO. So they
yeah,
weren't like, how do I interpret this?
we are not looking for that. I'm not looking for a UFO because I
Doesn't
believe that they can, because the aliens, those that I saw, could manifest themselves in a physical body. So even that they are from a different dimension, maybe they can manifest UFO in the way they can make a body to themselves. And
Yeah,
maybe
but
this is, there is a question many ask. Many say we don't know if there are ETs like extraterrestrial that came from a different star, like I thought in the beginning.
Yeah.
The others say no, they probably came from a different dimension. And the others say
It's a
they
little bit of
maybe came from a different time.
yeah,
yeah,
we're not all evolved at the same time, okay? And
I
there are
think
ETs who are in the third dimension with us who do come here. There are those from the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, even the sixth dimension that come
I
here.
mean, we ourselves are interdimensional.
Right, we are. You're an intimate
Yeah.
dimensional being, and it's a mix of contact.
yes. I
And
think that I think that we can look at it from the oneness point because
yeah,
if we think about these aliens that they are very developed creatures that they can go in and out of physical body like us when we born and die, maybe they were in a certain time in a planet
yes,
and grow in a body and they got very high spiritual consciousness ability and go out and in from the body and go out to travel other entities like us.
yep,
So
Yeah.
it's the same so it's the same other dimension and ET and
right,
different time
yeah,
and different.
Well, some of the saints could do that. They could leave their body and manifest a physical body somewhere else
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
by
yes.
location.
Yeah, my main contact is a fifth dimensional being, and he's really actually non corporeal, but he has evolved to the point that if I need to see him in a physical body, he will show me himself in a physical body. And I finally gave it up and I said, I don't need it anymore. I'm older now and I don't need to go there anymore. But he's done that for me and he's shown me several different lives that he's lived throughout the universe, in different forms. And he can manifest that way anytime he wants to. Me talking about that to people makes them crazy though, because they think that's something wrong with that. You're talking to a demon. I'm like, no,
No.
no.
Oh,
But
So,
yeah,
so Yossi, did the ETs ever give you a name? Did, these 4 or 5 individuals you saw, did they have names?
no, I try to stay with the understanding that they are not talking, and everything that I realized was in the awareness that I give words. So I think that people that give words to them probably give the most closest human way of giving name. And it's
Yeah.
real, it's not imagination. I
yeah,
mean the name that they feel is really describing that character of that alien.
exactly. I
Wow.
have two that I named. Okay, one told me she knew I was going to want to call her something, and she said, "Just call me Mama." Okay,
Ah,
because I was thinking Mama. She reminded me of Mama. And then the other one has a name that I know he has a name, but I couldn't pronounce it if I tried. And I said, "Can I just call you this?" He's like, "Okay, I'm comfortable with that." So that's what I named him.
yeah,
Nobody else, me. I named him.
yes,
And
yeah,
you know, it's not really important to them. They are who they are, and you know who they are when you're with them.
yes, yes,
You can pick them out. It's like if they were to come to you again right now, you would know exactly that it was the same ones you saw before.
yeah.
Okay, that's important to understand.
Yeah,
People, you know.
yes, when we, something that is similar is that when we are go out of our body, or many the stories of the near-death experience, when people go out, go through the tunnel and meet, um, part of them meet their grandmother that
Yep.
loved them very much. The
Yep.
other man meet Jesus that all of his life was praying for him, and the other one met an angel, and the other one met,
Yep.
and when come back, each one of them tell a different story. And what I think is that when we in that superposition, we saw them all are there without a specific form. They are all there, but when we go back, the experiencer translated in with his own personality and the most closest essence of love that he lived in his life. And his grandmother was the real example of love. And he see the face of her. And he is not imagining that he saw his grandmother. This is the thing. He really saw his grandmother, because in the oneness they all exist. But one can see the grandmother, one can see an angel, one can see, if he had a bad experience, one can see a demon. Say, I saw a demon.
Yeah.
And it's like with the aliens too, because it's going to the oneness with all the possibility, and we are grounding it for a special form.
Now I have a burning question in my mind, because you did it.
Yeah, I have a couple too.
Do you know how to OBE, out of body experience?
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to ask, John. Have you had other out of body experiences?
Nope.
No.
It
Oh,
was
interesting.
the one and only time that I had it.
Wow.
But I really, I don't try, because in the writing I got to a point that when I want to go inside that space of oneness, when I write, it start to do something in my mind that can show me more understandings and views, like
Okay.
views
You
of
don't even need
ideas.
it. You're already there.
You're already there.
Yeah, it comes.
That's right.
Yeah, and each sentence give a more. It's like growing like flowers, and from one root come many. So
Yeah.
it's the same for me,
Branches.
Yeah.
like going out
Now,
of the
now
body.
here's the other question. Since you're not OBE, one of my experiences, and now because of what I'm able to do and everything, is I experience oneness all the time. I don't even hardly have to close my eyes. I can contact anything at any time. In other words, it's always within grasp. My mind can absolutely go to where I want it to go. It's already there. Okay. And if I'll go through my day, and if something's perplexing me, I just broadcast the intention of what I want to know, and it's already coming back at me. They already know. It's like before I even know that I know it, they know it, and it's coming back at me. And I'll get directions, answers. Sometimes I'll hear. I'm not joking around about this. This is weird to me. I'll be flipping off something in my head, sarcastically, and I'll get that right back at me. Sometimes they'll flip a sarcasm right back at me and stop me from doing it. It's like,
Nice.
what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm in constant contact now. I mean, I'm never not in contact. And I do OBE though. I get bored at night. I don't sleep, so I'll just out of body automatically. I can out of body. But I learned it as a child, so it was natural. They didn't teach me it. I naturally did it on my own. But you're right. There's a point that you get to where you're so in contact with them. It's the singular. That's what singularity is to me. Okay, you're in the singularity of mind, and it's instantaneous. There's no mumbo jumbo or anything. You're just poof, you're there.
I know that feeling, because I do a lot of writing too, and I absolutely get into that state of mind, like, wow, it's almost like I'm not even writing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's flowing. It's like stream of water that when you push it a little bit, and then that it flows by itself
Yes. Right.
if you don't stop it and you don't go the other and do something else. It
Exactly.
started.
It's
It's
like your
continuing
painting,
to.
which you did right before the contact. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, where is
It's
it coming
coming through.
Mhm.
My great grandmother, who was very, very psychic, told me once, she said she knew I was going to have a child long before I did. She told me when it was going to happen, that I had to name her after her and all this other stuff, right? And the last thing she said to me, and this she told me 10 years before that, 20, maybe 20 years, was 1981, same year you had your contact, and I didn't have my child until 1990, okay? And she said, I want you to remember something. This is a being who is coming through you. You don't own it. You must teach it, show it the way to go, and teach it to teach itself. The greatest gift you can give any child is to teach that child how to learn themselves. And I'm like,
Beautiful.
okay, I agree. I thank you. I'll remember that. And I tried to follow that, and it's unbelievably important. And you're just like talking about it without even thinking about it. You got that going on. And everybody, I'm just going to say this. If you're listening to this, go get the book. I think you need to read his book. Everybody, absolutely read this book. Okay. It is important because the lessons that you've learned, Yossi, are absolutely true. You know, you're bringing absolute
Yeah.
truth out. And
Yeah, it's amazing because a lot of what you're telling Dolly has already told me.
Wow!
Especially,
Wow! Amazing.
yeah, but
yeah,
not a lot of people have the clarity that you have.
right.
So it's really refreshing to speak with you. It's just
No, I'm excited.
lovely.
It's almost like having contact. It's amazing. Okay. It's wow.
I do have another question. I was in LA in 1981. I was
Wow!
like probably just a few miles from you. So I'm wondering, do you remember like the street you were living on, or
Sepulveda.
oh my gosh,
Ah,
Sepulveda.
Really?
ah,
I
Really?
was a few miles away.
yeah.
Wow! Wow! You know what amazing that that I heard from many people that live in in the valley that they have some kind of experience or saw UFO in the valley. It seems that the valley as a I mean, and then I was thinking about the name Los Angeles, the city of angels. Maybe
Yeah.
this is the real essence of the name that they gave it then.
Hmm, yeah.
From history,
Living.
that place was visited.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe it has a portal or something like that in that place.
Focal point. It's an energetic area. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sepulveda has, that's a pretty densely populated area. So this wasn't out in the country, right? This was within the city itself.
yeah. So you've been there in '81
Yeah.
on the area. Amazing.
Oh yeah. I've crossed Sepulveda probably, I don't know, 1,000 times. I
Yeah,
know exactly.
driving to work and back or something.
Yeah.
So
And
you
of
were a
course,
child. You were how old were you then?
I was young. 1981, that would have made me, let's see,
You were a
65,
child
75 years.
something.
Yeah, I was 16 in 1981. I think
16.
that's right. 65, 75. Yeah,
16.
16. But,
Wow.
but
You've
yeah, I
been
lived
living
there
there.
for years and years.
You were living for years there. So
Oh, yeah. From
yeah.
1971 until recently. So I
Yeah.
know the area very, very well.
Reseda. He was in Reseda. Last house he lived in was in Reseda, off of Reseda Boulevard. You know.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is what, maybe 2 miles from Sepulveda?
Sepulveda.
Yes, yes.
Amazing. Wow. Well, we have just a few minutes left. I do want to thank you so much, Yossi, for coming on. Yeah, I definitely want to
Can
encourage
we have
everyone.
you back again, please? I would love to
And
have you back again.
of course, it's very joyful to talk with you too. We have a very good vibrations together, and we talk about.
So, are you working on another book? Did you say?
Yeah. Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long before do you think it comes out?
What?
How long do you think before it comes out?
I don't know. I'm so slow. And
It's all right.
I'm checking everything that I wrote, and I'm judge it all the time. So
Oh,
Take time.
hint, what's it about?
It will be probably a more development of the first book. I don't know how to divide it for couple books because they are the same subject, but even deeper and simpler to use. In the first book, I didn't give any suggest any idea what to do, and here I want to do something like that without telling what to do, but more practical. I
Okay,
will try to do it more practical and less philosophical.
that's fantastic. That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
That's
Yeah.
teaching. That's awesome.
You know,
That's wonderful. Oh, I'm excited about that.
All right. So do you want to tell people how they can reach you? We did put your links in the show notes to your website and to the book, but it's
oh,
always good
amazing!
for
Thank
people
you.
who can't see, because a lot of our audience is just pure radio. So if you could let people know how to reach you.
Beautiful. They can. I mean, if the link is there, they can, and they can. The book is on Amazon, and I want to say that the each one that want to read the book and that cannot offer himself to buy the book, he can write me a mail, and I will send it to him.
Ah,
With that, uh,
Is it available on audiobook?
yes,
Oh, good.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
fantastic. That's a really easy way to get a book because it's less than $5 on Amazon, right?
yeah. It's something like that, and but I know that there are people that they want to read, but they cannot afford themselves.
Yeah.
So they can feel free to write me an email, and I will take care of them.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow. That's a joy to know. Thank you.
All
I
right.
know a
Any
lot of
last
people.
messages for everyone who's listening?
Eh, well, I didn't thought about the messaging. Uh, I should think about the message for finale.
All
Next
right.
time I will do that.
Well, love is the answer. I think
That's right.
Yes,
pretty much
exactly,
made that
exactly,
Peace,
clear.
love, and love.
exactly.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Try to find it in yourself and on the other one. If you find it, you find your love. Like
That's
you
right.
find your light, your awareness, your. I mean, to see the light in the other one is to be lightened. This is the thing.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Yossi. This was so much fun. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to speak with you. Just
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you're an
Absolutely. Pure
amazing
joy.
guy.
Thank you.
Thank you both for the opportunity to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. We love you all. Thank you guys for, I know some of you probably made donations. We're very humbled and grateful for it. So thank
Yes,
you for that.
chat. Yossi, on the night that we premiere this, we'll send you links for that. If you happen to be awake, you can come on to the
Yeah.
link
Like
and
4 a.m.
but we have lots of
Ah,
listeners who are very, very loyal and they will be asking questions like crazy.
for the chat, you mean?
Yes.
For the
Yeah.
chat.
Yes.
Yes, I will try to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Tell me when it's
We will send you
Yeah.
the links. Absolutely.
will
I'll
be
let you
awake.
know the day before and then,
Yeah.
Great.
an
We'll
hour
make sure you're
before.
not. Give them
It
20.
will be interesting for me very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Lightgate with Yossi. We appreciate your loyalty to us, and we hope that you had a really good time with the show and that
Yes.
we all want you to know the truth. Namaste
Yeah.
to everybody. We
Peace
love
and
you.
love to everyone.
That's right. Peace and love. We've been talking to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana on the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are coming to you live from Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and YouTube. If you heard us on the radio, you can always go to one of the other platforms and physically see the replay of us all on the screen. We love you all and good night.
Good night, everyone.